Hey, my name's Roberto and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make pan flutes. I've made these before. I've made them out of PVC, so the one that I'm making now is actually from bamboo. So I'm going to make them the traditional way. But whether you make them from bamboo or PVC, according to what I know and based on experience playing them, to me they don't really make much of a difference in sound. The bamboo ones might sound a little tiny bit better, not by much, but they sound a little bit better. The advantage of the PVC ones is that they stay in tune a lot better. They're tougher, like you can drop them and they won't split or break, and they're more stable in terms of so when it comes to temperature changes, they don't react like the bamboo ones do. So that's the really big advantage of the PVC ones. But now, as I said, I'm going to make ones out of bamboo, which is the traditional way of making them. So yeah, what I'm up to right now is I'm cutting them into the right lengths. So, and actually I'm not going to tune them by being so precise and cutting them, you know, measuring them out and that sort of thing. No, what I'm going to do is roughly chop them up into different lengths, going from smallest to largest. And when it comes to tuning them, the way I'm going to do it is by inserting some sort of wax. Well, to be precise, I'm going to use ear putty that you use for blocking your ears when you go swimming, and that is like a waxy sort of substance that will, you know, increase the pitch. So if you want the pitch of a tube to sound greater, you insert more of the ear putty into the bottom and that will increase the pitch. It's like having glass bottles, and the more water you put in, it'll change the pitch if you hit them with a spoon or if you blow into them. And that's the same principle with the pan flutes. So if you're wondering how I'm going to get the wax all the way down to the bottom of the flute or the pipe, very easy. You just use a long length of wire. It has to be a thick wire, not a thin wire. And what you do is you grab the putty, which I've got here at the moment. Okay, here's an open. No, that's not the one I was using before. But anyway, what you do is you break off a bit of ear putty and roll it into a ball, stick it to the tip of the wire. Then you insert it in, and you do that. You take it all the way down to the bottom, and you keep doing that until you build up enough. Until you raise the pitch to how you want it to be. So that's one way of doing it. Or you can roll little balls, and you can drop the little balls that you make out of the ear putty and just drop them in. When you hear them, you will actually feel it land at the bottom. Once you do that, then you can flatten it down, mold it into place using the wire. And I've got another piece of metal. This is a rod that can also work with the thicker tubes. Just take it all the way down, and that will flatten the putty that you've put in there and raise the pitch of the tube. So that's how it's done. And what I've been doing is I've been tuning each pipe, and as you can see I've rolled up little bits of ear putty, and by the way my camera stands in the way, just ignore that. So they're the little balls of ear putty that I've rolled up, and I'm going to place them each into each one of the pipes until I get the right pitch. So I've got an octave done already, so from G I'll play it, so it sounds like this. And I've just got one note after that, which is that one. So I'm going to have to work out the rest of the notes. So what I'm going to use here is a guitar tuner. And as you can see, when a note is in tune, it'll tell you. So that's the first note, and as you can see the indicator ends up roughly in the middle, so that means it's in tune. So now I've just got to figure out this new note that I'm going to tune, which is that one there. Okay, I'm just going to place a few of these balls of ear putty inside the tubes, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ram it down. So using this bit of rod or thick wire, it's very much the same thing, and you just keep doing that and building up the pitch. So the more putty you build up, the greater the pitch, and eventually it'll be in tune. So as you go higher up and the tubes get smaller, you'll need less ear putty, so you have to work out, don't go overboard. Yeah, and what I'm doing with the tips is that I'm shaping them so they are shaped like that at an angle. So I don't know if you can see that. So what that does is it changes the pitch and gives you more of a whistly sort of tone. And this is something that's done with the European pan-flutes. The Latin American panpipes or pan-flutes, they have a more breathy, hollow sort of sound, like you can actually hear the difference. It sounds quite different. And the European ones actually sound more like a whistle. They've got that sort of tone. And with the European ones, you can actually change the pitch, so you can get two different notes out of one pipe. And the way you do that is by changing the angle at which you blow into. So you get two notes out of one pipe. And something I forgot to mention, it's very important that you wear a mask when you're cutting up these pipes, because when you chop up bamboo, you will have a lot of sawdust or bamboo fibres that get released. They go into the air, and if you breathe them in, it's not healthy. So make sure you wear one of these masks. And if you're wondering how I cut up the flutes, actually you'll get the sawdust if you use some sort of saw. But when it comes to sanding, I do the sanding part with sandpaper and stuff, so I don't actually use a saw, so that also minimises sawdust. So instead of using a saw, you'll want to use a device that looks like this. I'm not too sure what you call this, but it's something that my dad uses at work. He's a fitter and turner, so he works with metals and stuff, and this is actually used for cutting like plastics and different sort of materials. But it works really well with bamboo. It's actually better because it doesn't tear the fibres. If you use a saw for cutting up the bamboos, what you're doing is, you're making a cut, but you're shredding the fibres, and you get a cleaner cut, a much cleaner cut using this. So it takes a bit longer, but it's well worth it. So how it works is very much like a can opener. You insert the tube in there, or the pipe there, then you tighten it up, then you just rotate it like that, and it'll cut all around. So that's how it works. So by cutting it this way, I minimise the amount of sawdust or whatever being made, but I'll still need to wear this, because when it comes to sanding down the tips, I will be using sandpaper, and that's the only way to do it. So like I said, it's still necessary to wear one of these, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, like I said, when you work on the tips, and if you want to do it that way, if you want to shape them like that, like I mentioned before, then you'll need to use some sort of sandpaper. I use a block of wood with sandpaper on it, and that helps to to sand the way you want. So, and then just to remove any rough edges or anything, you use a really fine grain sandpaper. And that's how it's done. And even if you don't want to shape your flutes the European way and just want to keep it like a South American pan flute, you'll still want to sand the tips of them to make them smooth, so you don't get any splinters on your lips or anything like that. And the last thing I will do is put them all together. So there's two ways I could do that. I could either wrap them up, or tie the tubes together the traditional way like that, or I could actually use some sort of glue to glue them in place. As you can see here, I've cut a strip of wood which is really thin, and along that strip I'm going to place all of the tubes one by one, just all along there. I'm going to glue them on using this glue gun. And that's the finished product. So what I recommend is that you tune all the pipes individually, without gluing them all together. Once you have them all tuned and perfectly in pitch, then then you can glue them all together. So I don't recommend you glue them all at once and then go ahead and tune them, because if you make a mistake and realise that you need an extra pipe, it means you've got to pull them all apart. You know, you've got to unglue it, and it's extra work, extra time. So just make sure you tune all the pipes as they are individually. Once you get that done, then you glue it all together. But that is the finished product, and it looks like a pan flute, and it plays well. So it sounds fine. Okay, I'll play a little something so that you know that it is a proper instrument, and you know it's meant to be something that you actually play. Okay, let's try. There you go.